At the end of this video, we'll take a look at Mad Ramp's innovative pivoting ramp system, the safer, easier way to transport your ATVs and snowmobiles. Stick around. Before we begin, I'd like to give a quick shout out to our friends at the historic Lancaster Motel in Lancaster, New Hampshire. The Lancaster Motel has been serving snowmobilers since the 60s, and they are the perfect eastern trail riding destination for snowmobilers young and old. The Lancaster Motel is right on Corridor Trail 5 in Lancaster, New Hampshire, with plenty of parking for vehicles, sleds, and trailers. Plus, the Lancaster Motel is within walking distance of Crane's Snowmobile Museum, plus restaurants, shopping, entertainment, and more. Click the link in the description to learn more about the Lancaster Motel. Good evening and welcome to the podcast. I'm really happy you're here tonight. We have a full slate of vintage snowmobile entertainment on tap for you. We're going to be getting to that in just a moment. We've got Jim Leighton in the green room. But before we get to that, I want to make sure that everything is working correctly. So if you can see my face and hear my voice, I'm going to ask you to leave a comment for me. Let me know where you're viewing this from. Let me know whether you're a first-time viewer or a regular viewer. I also have a message for the first-time viewers and the regular viewers. If you're a first-time viewer, I thank you for stopping by to check us out. I hope that you'll decide to check us out every week. We do this every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And if you're a regular viewer, I thank you so much for coming back every week and making this possible. It really means a lot, and this is how we grow the program. And before we get to Jim Leighton, I want to ask a small favor of each of you. If you like what you're seeing with this podcast, if you could either share this on your profile or share it on a friend's profile, someone who you think might enjoy this, or send it to them in a private message, I would really appreciate that. That helps to get the word out about this program so that we can grow it and make it sustainable. So let's take a look at who's on tap here tonight watching with us. We've got a regular viewer, Brian Robillard from Putnam, Connecticut. Thanks for being on, Brian. We're going to have Brian on, I think, next week or the week after. He's got some sleds and things he's going to show us. We have Tracy and Dudley Skipinski, regular viewers from Michigan. Thanks for coming on, guys. We've got Brody Messner from Henderson, Minnesota, and he's got a couple of things that he sent me this week. We're going to be showing a little later in the announcements part of the program. We have Daryl Folk from Pennsylvania. Thanks for coming on, Daryl. We have Stacy and Art Fosler. Look forward to this show every week. God, guys, that really means a lot that you guys are on here every week and look forward to it. That really means a lot, and I appreciate that. David Noon from New Hampshire, first-time viewer. Thanks for coming on, David. Hopefully we'll see you here every week as well. Petrangelo James says, this is cool, and I hope I haven't mispronounced your name. Yeah, I appreciate your coming on. Tom Gregory, Gregory, a regular viewer from Kalkaska, Michigan. Appreciate your coming on. We have UP Snowbiker, first-time viewer from Houghton, Michigan. Thanks for coming on and checking us out. I really appreciate that. We have Pat Lima from Southeast Missouri. Appreciate your coming on. We have Tim Rosenthal. He's back for another time. I remember seeing him on here last week from Newdorf, Saskatchewan. Thanks for coming on. We have Perry Chemnitz. Apologize for mispronouncing that. Regular viewer from Pembina, North Dakota. Mixing up my states here. Nick Kafez, loud and clear from Shelby, Michigan. TWP, I'm not sure what that means. I should know what that means, but Mitch Kinty from Leslie, Michigan. I'm probably mispronouncing that too. Eric Cousino from Maine. Thanks for coming on, Eric. You were on this morning, and I appreciate that. I appreciate your humor this morning in that little podcast we did, that little test we did. Christine Shad from Neenah, Wisconsin. Thanks for coming on, Christine. We've got Tom Peters on from Presque Isle, Maine. We're going to try to get Tom Peters on here real soon. He is an inductee into the Eastern Snowmobile Racing Hall of Fame, and he's got a whole lot of things he wants to do, some show and tell, and we're just trying to work through some technical issues to get him on here. Mike Music from Mitchell, South Dakota. Mark Elkin from New Richmond, Wisconsin. Mitch says, first-time viewer, loud and clear. Thanks for coming on and checking us out, Mitch. We have Bruce Halverson, first-time viewer. Thanks for coming on, Bruce. Hope you'll join us every week here at the same bat time, same bat channel, 9 p.m. Thursday nights. John Spranger Jr., regular viewer. He has his twin brother watching now. Still only 2 inches of snow. He hates to see what his lawn is going to look like when the snow is gone, especially if you're riding around that lawn with your carbides. That's going to tear it up. Rick Petrucco, regular viewer. Yes, we recognize you, Rick. And sorry you missed us last week, but we're glad you're here. Just a few more here. Tom Cubokes from Revelstoke, BC, Canada. Scott Alexander Beaton from High River, Alberta. John Fitzgibbons, Syracuse, New York. Loves the show. Awesome show. Thank you, John. Larry Andrews from Bradford, Ontario, Canada. And Pete Ayers. Glad he's found us from upstate New York. I'm glad that we found you as well, Pete. Nick Kafez from Township. Okay, thank you for correction on that. I appreciate that, Nick. Bruce Halverson, Tomahawk, Wisconsin. Corey Burke from Sioux, Canada. And Carl Layberger from Southwick, Massachusetts. Okay, let's not keep Jim waiting any longer. Let's bring Jim Leighton onto the stream here. And how you doing tonight, Jim? Oh, I don't have his mic. Sorry. Too much going on here. There we go. I think we'll be able to hear you now. How you doing, Jim?
How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for being on. I appreciate it.
I see Tom's on. Hey, Tom.
Oh, I think the audio dropped on you.
You hear me all right?
Oh, boy. Yeah, we lost your audio, Jim. I'm not sure what happened. Let me click and then click it back on and see if that fixed it.
How's that?
Yeah. Oh, no, boy. We're missing your audio. Oh, wait. Maybe that's just on my end. Let me try this. Yeah, if you could say something for me, Jim.
Yep. How's that?
Okay. Audio is back. I'm not sure why that did that, but we're back in business here. Yeah, Jim is here. He's got some things he wants to show us. Yeah, take it away, Jim. I'm going to hand it over to you if you want to switch that camera around. And while you're switching the camera, I'm going to ask people to comment on what Jim is showing us. If you have comments or questions, yeah, just ask away, and he'll be happy to answer questions for you. Here we go.
How's that?
That's perfect.
Okay.
I love that Mini. That's really cool.
Yeah, we had that on last time, but it sits in my garage because I like to take it out and mess around a little bit. So this is just the ones that haven't seen it, just a little homemade. It's actually a Murray Track 2 mini bike. Took the tracks off on a little Sears snowblower and attached it to the rear of the frame of the mini bike. And then I got a ski off on a 67 Bombardier, shortened it up. We stuck it on. It's fun to take and just zoom around the shows, when we have them. It don't get out in the powder much, but it sure is fun driving around the parking lot at shows.
Yeah, I'll bet it is. I bet that'll do some good donuts too. Can you do donuts on that?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Nice.
Little, it's always a work in progress, but it's fun. It's fun.
Wonderful.
So we'll move on to the within the collection here. This is the 1970 Alpine. It's a 399. We have 4 of these, and from 67 to 70. The 68 is the only one that really is not running. It's got a 399 motor in it as well, and it's stuck. Haven't really had time to play with it. The other ones are single cylinders. They're a tank, but they're a lot of fun just to go play with. So where there's not much snow out there right now, I thought it'd be fun to bring the Alpine out and just play around the fields and stuff with. Like the old song, it takes 40 acres to turn it around, but it's just a joy to ride and have fun with. This one has reverse. It's in pretty good shape for the year of it. Electric start.
Nice. I remember seeing those back in the day. And those were what would tow the groomers back in the early days of trail riding, at least in my experience of it.
Yes. Yeah, it runs real well.
Nice.
So, I'm going to the fishing derby at Long Lake this weekend, and I'm thinking about loading this up and taking it to the lake with me, and just go out and hang out and drive around and watch people fish and talk to people. And not much of a fisherman myself, but I do enjoy going up and hanging out with people and bringing stuff like this to talk about.
Nice. I would imagine that would be a real conversation starter, having that out there with the ice fishermen.
It's amazing how many people will come up and want to stop and talk to you.
Nice. Now, the people that see it, do they know what it is, or are they, what the heck is that?
Some people do. Some do. Most are kind of, they look at it and can't quite figure it out, and especially the younger ones. But a lot of the people that are up there fishing, they've seen them before somewhere. Maybe have never seen one in person, but especially this old. I know that there are 2 guys at the lake right now that are fishing, and they got like a 1984 and 85, I think is what they have, Alpines.
Right.
They're up from downstate somewhere fishing, and that's what they brought up. So I'm kind of anxious to meet them.
Yeah, for sure. And you're right. I mean, back in the day, it was a common sight to see these, but today it's not something you see.
No. No.
Yeah. So it's got to be a real eye catcher, I would think.
Yeah.
And I think Jack Ulch, who's, I don't know if you can see on the lower left of the screen there, he says it best. He says he wants it.
Yeah. Usually when people see him, especially when we hook the ski boost up to it, and you haul it along with this and have the ski boost hooked behind it, it really makes a show. Nice.
And Jack Ulch is also asking, is that a 640cc in there?
This is a 399 version.
399. Nice.
Yeah. I think the 68, I'm not sure if that was an original 640, but it has a 399 motor in it right now, but haven't really had time to pull that motor and do anything with it. And then the other ones are all single cylinders.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
Now, with those single cylinders, do you find that's enough power to move a machine like that, or does it work for it?
It works hard, but it does the trick. I've never really had it out, the single cylinder ones out in the powder. And I don't really dare to take this out in the powder either, because I don't want to get stuck. But you do a little vintage trail ride, or you go out like now when you've got 6-8 inches of snow and ride around, and it works real well. But they always used to take these things out and break trail with them. So
yeah,
they just, I don't feel like getting stuck.
Yeah, no doubt. That would be a beast to try to get unstuck, especially if you're by yourself.
Yeah. So one of the other things that I've got that I just kind of brought in, and I'm trying to decide what I'm doing with it, and I've asked for some help online and got quite a bit of help. I knew that this machine that you're seeing here, the yellow, I knew that it's a black dot chassis, 1970.
Yeah.
And in 1970, they made two versions, which was a 340 and a 340 and a 292. So I really, without a tag on this, I didn't know exactly what it was. And with some help from some friends around the vintage snowmobile world, basically looking at the double roll chain and the 16 tooth sprocket on the front tells them that it's a 340 black dot chassis. So nice. I've got most everything to build this 340 black dot, and so I brought it up with the rest of them and said it's time to see what I can do with it, get it cleaned up, and maybe start restoring it.
Wonderful. So this is your next project.
That's it. Well, it's one of them. Yes.
Good deal.
We did talk about that screw last time I was on. That's still sitting here. I'm waiting for the motor to. I got a buddy of mine that's trying to get the motor cleaned up and get it firing and running right. It's a 1971, I believe. I'm not familiar really with the screw rules, but as I mentioned last time, it's kind of a Johnny Cash sled. It's got a single cylinder sled and a 440 chassis and a 300. It's a slide suspension, but just something that we're putting together for a buddy of mine so he can have something that his grandparents used to have.
Nice. And these are all parts, according to the song, that have been snuck out in a lunchbox, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
nice.
A lot of time. So I don't know if there's any questions before I move on to the next one.
Yeah, definitely. To the viewers, if you have questions at this point for Jim, by all means, post them. And yeah, he's going to show us a few things while we're waiting for some questions to come in.
Just a few motors. So we talked about this last time. It's a 72 Kitty Cat.
Yeah.
Really good shape. Waiting in the wings for my granddaughter. She's only 18 months old, so it's going to take a little bit before she can get on it, but I can't wait.
She's got that waiting for her.
Yeah.
Now, if you could go back a little, was that a Pirkl mini bike? Was that one of those old Arctic Cat mini bikes?
This one's not an Arctic Cat. I've been looking for one because I want to get one for my kitty cat.
Yeah.
This is just a little. I can't even remember now what the name brand of these two mini bikes are. But they're the old schools. They're from 1970.
Yeah.
I built this one for my daughter when she was like 3 years old. She's 28 now. And last summer, I built this one for my granddaughter. And like I said, she's just over 18 months old now. So just figure I'd hang them in the rafters until she's ready for the toys.
Very nice. Yeah, she's got a nice childhood waiting for her.
Yeah.
That's going to be fun times.
So the last thing I got to show you, we'll move on here, is I had my father's 797 Blizzard. This is a 1971 Skidoo Blizzard. There was 170, I should have looked before, but 170 some made of these sleds. They were just built for racing. He bought this sled brand new in 71. I guess from what I understand, the rough cost of these sleds are around $2,500.
Wow!
For this machine back then, so that was quite a bit of cash. Sat down in our farm here in disrepair for a long time, and till Rob and Leo Kiefer from Kirkl come along, and they grabbed it up, they took it over, and they restored the whole thing, and now she's all back to, maybe not brand new, but it's pretty close. I think it's probably 90% original. Had to have a new track put on it, and we can only find, I think, one exhaust pipe at the time when we pulled all the parts together, and so they had brand new exhaust built, the motor totally redone, and brand new seat built. So this is my father bought this sled originally, and he's 91 years old now, and this thing right here, if I was gonna, I really love the 1970 Olympics, but this thing here is right, it tugs at my heartstrings.
Yeah, for sure.
Love this machine.
And I bet your father likes to see that as well. That must bring back a lot of memories for him.
He does, and he's always been really good with mechanics of these things, and he can take this thing and tweak it and make it just sing. It's really, really, it's amazing how he can sit down with this machine and just with a screwdriver and do a little tinkering. Before you know it, the thing is running like a top. That's
amazing. Now, speaking of which, Dick Kafez is watching, and he'd like to know if you could fire that up.
I can fire that up. I think I can fire it up. I'll set the phone down, and as long as I don't make a mistake and flood it.
Okay, sure.
I'll get it fired up here. But let me see if I can set my phone down so they can see it.
Sure.
Let's see here. I'll pick it back up once I get it running, but I hope the phone don't fall.
That's all right if it does. We'll understand. We'll be waiting for you.
All right. We'll give her a little airplane fuel. I can hear again.
Yeah, I bet that's loud in that room. I love that crackle though. That sounds amazing.
It's an amazing machine. It's I can't imagine how they raced these back in the day, but yeah, they all did. Tom Peters will be able to tell you all about that.
Yes, in fact, he left a comment. I don't know if you can see it or not. He's saying he remembers racing against that.
Yeah. They were all good friends and raced good together.
Nice. Oh, and Tom Peters also says he remembers it well, and to say hi to your dad. He must remember your dad as well.
Yes, he knows my dad well. Yeah.
Nice. And then one comment from earlier too. It's out of sight now, but Jack Ulch was asking where in Maine that you're located.
I'm located in northern Maine in Limestone.
Northern, okay, Limestone, yeah. Okay. And then Jack also mentioned those mini bikes, those purple mini bikes. He's thinking they might be Rupp mini bikes.
No, I've always wanted to find a Rupp, but they're not. I know they're not Rupps because I have a good friend that has a Rupp collection, and they're not Rupps, but they're. I think the pink one is more like a Sears bought bike.
Yeah.
And I thought the purple one at first when I got it because of the lay down handlebars was an Indian, little Indian, I guess they called them. But I found out that wasn't it. And somebody told me what the name it was. I just can't remember what it was.
Sure. Well, that's all right.
Yeah. And I have a third one that I built this summer. I actually have it on a stool in my office. I had it painted green and did a lot of work to the motor. It's souped up and it'll run about 45, 50 miles an hour with me on it.
Wow. Yeah. That's pretty darn quick.
So it'll roll right along.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
That's impressive. Now, I know this is getting off topic a little bit, but I keep catching a glimpse of a Chevy pickup truck there. I wonder if you could just give us a quick look at that.
So I got this, I don't know, 4 or 5 years back. It's a 1987 short box, 4-wheel drive Chevy pickup. had a plow on it when I bought it. And I bought it and said, I'm going to use that to plow with, even though I had a truck with a plow on it. The price was right.
Sure.
And I brought it home and I played around with it. And I got to looking at it and I'm like, this thing's worth a lot of money if I fix it up. And so again, I always think about my granddaughter and I'm like, so I brought it in the garage and I've started buying parts for it. I'm going to strip it down, probably not frame off restoration, but I'm going to strip it down and get it right and get it painted. And I told my daughter, I said, I have 15 years to do it before she turns 16 years old to get her license. So I got a little time to fix it, but that's what I'm going to shoot for. Cause it's a really nice truck, really solid, besides a few panels that are rotted and rusted here or there, but so a little bit of work, I'll have her done and get it ready for her to play with around the fields and then hopefully use it for her drive someday.
Awesome. Yeah, she's going to love that. It's a great project. And you're right, all fixed up, that's going to fetch a few bucks.
Yeah,
that's a good investment.
These little short bed square body trucks fetch a lot of money when they're right.
Nice. That's cool. That's a good investment right there.
Yeah. So
good deal.
So those are the toys. I don't know if this thing will start, but it's we'll give it a whirl.
Yeah, by all means.
So they're all
That's
running
cool.
tonight.
That's cool. One of these days, Jim, if you ever have a chance, if you've got that out in the yard, that mini right there, I would love to see some footage of that if you ever have that out in the yard.
One of these nice days there, what I'll do is
and we can share the footage on the future podcast.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Did we lose the audio, Jim?
I don't know.
I see what happened. We lost. I don't know what makes that audio go away.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I have your audio back now, Jim.
Okay. Yeah. I'll get a video of that sometime. Send it to you.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
That would be amazing. Well, cool. Any final thoughts, Jim, before we go? Or
no, I just appreciate you having me on, and where I can't get out and show my toys off to anybody because there's nobody doing shows. This is a good chance to chat with people and see what everybody's got out there. So
yeah, for sure.
Really enjoying it.
Well, I appreciate that. And you're right. It's a nice way for people to share what they have in this pandemic situation without putting yourself at risk.
Right.
And we can see what people have in different parts of the country and Canada. And it's just a wonderful way to see what people are doing in this hobby.
It is. So thank you very much for letting me come on.
Well, my pleasure. Thanks, Jim. We'll have you on another time. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll pick up some more sleds and show you some more stuff.
All righty. Take care. All righty. Well, that was Jim Leighton showing us his collection. He's always got some great stuff to show us, and we really appreciate him coming on. That was really fun. So let me switch screens here. Let's see where we are in the program. So I've got some announcements to make here. Let me get to the right screen. We've got a few things to talk about. Number one, sad to say, the Crane's Vintage Snowmobile show that was scheduled for next Saturday has been canceled. I know I've been pushing that real hard, and that's one of my favorite shows in the East, and sadly that has been canceled. But we do understand, with COVID and everything, you do have to cancel shows, and thankfully, like Jim was saying a minute ago, we've got this online alternative where we can do things online now. So that's a nice alternative. But do keep this in mind for next year, because like I said, this is one of the great shows of the East, the Crane Snowmobile Show. And a little later in the program, I'm going to show you some footage from 2017 at Crane Show. Also, in central New Hampshire, Ossipee, New Hampshire, there is a vintage show this coming weekend, the Hobbs Vintage Snowmobile Show, this coming Saturday. So the information is here. Spectator voting is from 11 to 2:30 p.m. I'm having a hard time seeing this screen here, but it looks like I guess it starts around 10 or 11 a.m. But But yeah, look for it online, the Hobbs Vintage Snowmobile Show. If you're curious about attending that, you can find some detail on that. But that's a great show. I know some people, I know Brian Robillard is going to that, and Patrick Goudreau are going to that. These are friends of this show, and they're Brian is talking about taking some footage for me that we can share maybe next week or the week after, so we can see what was going on at that show. Also, Michael Stackhouse brought this to my attention. This is an item that's for sale on Facebook Marketplace. If you like this Ariens arrow sign, do a search for Ariens Aero Snowmobile sign and see if you can find it. It's in North Conway, New Hampshire, and they're looking to get $1,950 for that. Incidentally, a little later in the program, I'm going to be showing you a restoration of an Ariens Aero Snowmobile. So we've got that to look forward to. Also, Brody Messner, a regular viewer of this program, is searching for an Arcticat jacket like this one. So if you'd like to contact him, look for Brody in the comments here and send him a message to see about that. If you got a coat like that you'd like to sell him. Also, Brody let me know about this upcoming event in Gaylord, Minnesota. It's the Lake Titlow event, Sunday, February 21st, 2021. It's their annual snowmobile event. That looks to be a great show. It starts at 9:30 a.m. In Gaylord, Minnesota. Also, we're going to have more on this next week or the week after, but there's a new Facebook group called the Northwest Vintage Snowmobile Classifieds. It's a great group. I've been on there, and we're going to have the person, Joshua, the gentleman who runs that group. We're going to have him on either next week or the week after to talk that up and tell us a little bit more about what's going on with that. But if you'd like to take a look, search on Facebook for Northwest Vintage Snowmobile Classifieds and take a look at that. And lastly, we are looking for advertisers. This message here could be your advertising message. We have advertising packages that start at only $2.99 a month. If you have digital images of your business, I can create a graphic like this for you, talk it up for 60 seconds each episode, and a package like that starts at only $2.99 a month. We have a whole lot of other ways we can market your business as well, and of course the price is reflected accordingly. But do keep us in mind if you'd like to advertise your product or service on this podcast. Okay, so let's see what we have next here. We have Joe Wilkinson being inducted into the Eastern Snowmobile Racing Hall of Fame this past fall, September 2020. Let's take a look.
The next recipient is Mr. Joe Wilkinson, inducted into the Eastern Snowmobile Racing Hall of Fame 2020. Joe began racing Skidoo for the Tri-State Power Sled team from Lee, Massachusetts.
And I apologize. The audio cut out on that. I don't know why it's doing that tonight, so I'm going to start that clip over. Apologize for the mix-up with that, but let's start that clip over so you can catch everything.
The next recipient is Mr. Joe Wilkinson, inducted into the Eastern Snowmobile Racing Hall of Fame 2020. Joe began racing Skidoo for the Tri-State Power Sled team from Lee, Massachusetts from 1966 to 1973. At the 1969 Berkshire Hills Championship in Pittsfield, Mass., Joe took first place in Stock A, Stock B, Stock C, and Mod 1. He grabbed first place wins in Stock B, Stock C, Mod 1, and Mod 2 at the 1969 Massachusetts State Championship in Greenfield, Mass. At the end of the 1968-69 racing season, Joe was first place in points for Stock A, Stock B, and second in Stock C. He raced to second place finishes in Stock B and Mod 2 at the 1970 Eastern States Expo in West Springfield, Mass., and was the overall stock winner at the 1970 Massachusetts State Championship in Greenfield, Mass. Joe had his 1970 Mod 2 Skidoo Blizzard Cookie at 3 New York State races, taking a first in Greenfield, a first in East Jewett, a second in Lake George. He also grabbed a first in Mod 1 in Cobleskill, New York. After a couple of second and third place finishes in 1971, Joe went on a tear, winning first in Mod 2 at Monticello, New York, and Colchester, Connecticut, and first in Mod 3 in Thompson, Connecticut. In 1972, Joe took first place wins in Mod 3 and Mod 5 at the Grand Prix, winning first overall. First in Mod 2 at Morrisonville, New York, first in Mod 3 at Brattleboro, Vermont. Joe raced to a second place finish in Mod 2 at the 1972 Snowmobile World Series in Ironwood, Michigan, and was second in points in Mod 2 for the 1972 season in USSA. In his final season of racing, in 1973, Joe Joe's Mod 2 sled took a first place win at Bangor, Maine, at Northampton, Mass, and he won the Pennsylvania State Championship. Joe Wilkinson's chest was never without a gold bib around it, as he wore several different numbers over the years, with number 5 gold bib being his highest. The great Joe Wilkinson from Massachusetts. A shout out to Russ Sweat for getting all of these records for Joe.
I just want to say thank you to these guys for doing a good job. And they really had to work on me to get me to come here, because I was supposed to be in Africa today. So the Africa trip got canceled, so we come up here, and it's really nice to have it. Plus, I got a lot of people here, and it cost me a lot of money to bring them up here. Maybe they'll kick back a little bit tonight and give me some money back. What do you think? I do have a couple stories. I like to tell stories. And how I got started in snowmobile racing it's quite interesting, because me and my brother bought our first snowmobile in 1961. And it was an old metal nose snowmobile. And then in 64 or 65, I don't remember, I bought a Skidoo, 10 horsepower, and I started tinkering with it, because I was always my own mechanic. And we went racing in a small town, Great Barrington, right next to where I live. But this Ray Grant from Tri-State Distributors was there with brand new machines, and he thought he was going to win the cross country. So I beat him in the cross-country race. Next year, he was down to hire me. So that's how I got my job at Tri-State Power Sled. And I was the second employee for Ray LeGrand. And then in must have been 69, he sold it to Bombardier, and then I raced for Bombardier. So I had it really made in my tire racing career, because I got everything paid for and everything done. And anything that I won, I got to keep. It was a really good deal. I had one of the best deals going, I think. So and I raced until Bombardier left in Lee, and they offered me a job in Duluth, Minnesota, but I didn't want to go to Duluth, and I started my own business, which I've been in business for 50 years for myself. But after I stopped racing, my boys started racing, and we raced go-karts all over the country. And one of my boys won a Duffy, which is the highest award you get in go-karts. And then we went from there to street stock cars. We had to try stock cars out, and my other son raced stock cars for quite a few years, until in 2001, our shop burnt down with our race cars and all my equipment, and we had $1 million fire. But we recovered, but we're not racing anymore. So I'm just hoping that all these people that I brought here tonight will pay me back. Tossie's gonna pay. All right, thank you. Thank you guys for struggling to get me to come here.
Get your flag.
So there you have it. Pardon me. There you have it. Joe Wilkinson inducted into the Eastern Snowmobile Racing Hall of Fame this past September 2020. Now, this Eastern Snowmobile Racing Hall of Fame has been going on now for 4 years. We're coming up on 5, and it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger every year. It's a wonderful event, and I encourage you to join us. These are the details about the next event. It's going to be Saturday, September 11th, 2021. Starts at 1 p.m. Eastern Time at Crane's Snowmobile Museum in Lancaster, New Hampshire. Now, if you're planning to join us, a couple of things. Number one, you want to get there early, because it gives you time to browse around in the Snowmobile Museum. Also gives you a chance to mix and mingle with inductees past, present, and future, and as well as a whole host of vintage snowmobile enthusiasts. It really is a great time. And if you're planning to come to this, you want to bring a lawn chair, because it's just a big open space, and we bring our own chairs. But this event just gets bigger and bigger every year, and it's a whole lot of fun. The other thing, if you're planning to come from any distance away, you want to stay at the Lancaster Motel. It's walking distance from the ceremony, and they have the after party at the Lancaster Motel. So as the after party winds down, you just meander over to your room and call it a night, and everything's just all conveniently located, and it's a great time. Lastly, if you're planning to join us for this and you're planning to book a room at the Lancaster Motel, please book now, because every year this Eastern Snowmobile Racing Hall of Fame induction ceremony fills the motel to capacity. So book now if you're planning to attend, so you can get a room and not be left, quote unquote, out in the cold. All right, so let's take a look at what's next on the agenda here. We're going to take a look at an Ariens Aero restoration. That is the one that I promised you earlier. This was restored by Matt Pirkl. Let's take a look.
Here we have a vintage 1971 Ariens Aero 300S snowmobile. Did a full body restoration, top to bottom. It's just missing the windshield now. That still needs to get repaired and cut down. We've been out here on Grand Lake for the past 45 minutes, putting it around the lake, making sure everything works. There's a new track, new set of drive sprockets and rear cogs, new fuel line. It's running a vintage Sachs SA290 293cc engine, original to this motor, running a Tillotson HR21A with a return line feature.
Let's get a close-up on that, shall we?
Now we'll open up the hood so you'll see underneath everything. The original gas tank, clutch assembly, new belt, even the brake works. Just filled it up with gas this morning. Original exhaust manifold and everything. Nothing has been replaced except the decals, because those there, they were shot. Original clutch cover. Clutches work like they should. We even...
No speedometer.
Yeah, no speedometer, no tachometer like you see on the modern sleds nowadays.
Want to show them under the seat?
Yeah.
Hold on a minute.
This model as an accessory even, you're able to get a seat riser to get you off the ground. It works just by a little flap right here. Flip that down, you lift the seat up and you got a second toolbox under the seat. I have my small random tools, spare belt, emergency headlight, emergency whistle, towel for whatever, and a socket set. We put the foam under there to keep it from rattling and damage the paint. The original tail light, new headlights, the original cable and spring.
The headlights. Probably good before. Nice headlights.
Yeah, like, it even had a funky addition. You look down underneath the skis. There are these ski spacers here to give it a wider stance. That was a rare feature most snowmobiles didn't have. This model also came with bogie suspension, which is just wheels under the skis, under the track, to give you your sort of suspension. And now I'll demonstrate starting. Turn key on to run. Choke it. Off choke after it fires. Fires right up. Now turn the headlight on. Turn the key switch to watch the light. And now the headlight's on.
Beautiful.
That there is my vintage 1971 Ariens Aero 300S. And cut.
So that was Matt Pirkl's Ariens Aero snowmobile. That's a wonderful restoration. That was really cool watching that. Now, that is footage that he sent to me a few years ago for another project I was working on, but it's coming in handy right now with the podcast. Let's take a look at what's next. We're going to have Richard Papousek's 1970 Ski Whiz Massey Ferguson snowmobile. This is also footage from a few years for another project I was working on. But let's take a look. This is a cool video.
Well, good evening, YouTube. We're out here in the sled shed. And what I'm showing you tonight is a 1970 300S Massey Ferguson snowmobile. This snowmobile has a 295, I think, Rockwell J-Lo engine in it, which is a single piston engine. I'm going to do a little walk around here. You can see it's got the chrome exhaust pipe on it. It has good skis. I put new wear bars on it. The hood was repainted. It's not perfect, but it's a nice finish on it. It's got the original decals on it, so they're going to have a few little scratches and scrapes because the thing is getting close to 40 years old. The steel belly pan was repainted in the Massey Ferguson gray. There's a few scrapes on it because I've had it stored here for a couple years, but nothing too bad. Would be great for a vintage ride. We'll walk around here a little more. It's got a new seat cover on it. I rebuilt the seat, the foam. It's got the back end gate with a little trunk in it. I'm going to show you the front here. It's got the dash. It's got the choke and the start. And you put it here, the lights come on. I'll show you what the lights look like on. They both work. I had to replace one of those. They're rather difficult to find. Here's a little tail light. Shut that off. But the controls are real good. The sled was inside when I purchased it on a farm auction. It has a brand new custom Canon windshield on it, so those are rather pricey to get the ones that fit it. Come around here, show you the front. Got a nice steel bumper on it, not bent or anything. Come around here, show the side. As you can see, it's got the original decal there. Here's some more of the seat. Nice chrome back handles here for the back rider. Come around back here. It does have a little trunk here. You can see down in there. There's your gas tank filler. Got a nice steel bar back here. It has a really good jet Ski Whiz Snow Flap original on it. Has a good track. Very few of these Ski Whizzes is a track bad. It's got a boogie wheel suspension system, but they must have used really good rubber and tread in their tracks because they look really good. There's a little age showing on it, but it still would be a good serviceable track. I'm sure you wouldn't have any problem with it. We're going to open it up here. Show you the engine. Here's the chain case. Got a unique rear exhaust. They call them forward. The carburetor's on the front. Forward motion. I guess they thought it sucked the air better. Has a good belt on it. There's a shot of the inside of the hood. I didn't have to do any fiberglass repairs on this hood. We'll come around here to the side. Here's the J-Lo Rocco. It has the wire pull start. And one neat thing about this sled, it's electric start. So that sure makes it a lot easier starting it. And before I start it up, because it gets a little smoky, here's some of the original hold-down straps. That'll hold the hood down. But we'll do a little start up here for you. It's a fun little sled. It runs really neat. It pops kind of like a 2-cylinder John Deere tractor. But I think you would enjoy it. Choke it a little. There we go. Well, I might have set the camera down. I got to give it a little gas when I'm starting it. Well, that gives you an idea. It's a pretty easy starter. Like I said, I haven't had this probably running in a year or so, and I messed with it a little bit, put some fuel in it, she started right up. So it always did start good for me. I never really rode it much after I did this kind of semi-restoration on it. It's not 100%, but I think you'd really be good for a vintage ride. You just don't find them this good a shape. And one thing, these sleds out in South Dakota, they never got rode much because we just don't have that much snow out here. So a lot of them got tucked away in the barns after they bought them, and they never got used much after that. So, and also I'm going to show you real quick here This is going to be, I think, a 72 that will be coming up on auction too, just as soon as I get this 69 listed. But that's a good sled too. But you can see they changed the front end design of them a little bit. But I'm just trying to cut down on some of my snowmobiles. I'm going mainly into John Deere's, so the Massey Ferguson is just kind of an off-brand for me. Thank you.
Yeah, that is a really nice example. And I thank Richard Papousek for that footage from a few years ago. Now, he mentioned that he's selling these sleds. This is back in 2017, so I'm pretty sure they're not available anymore. But it's still really cool to look at them. So what do we have next on the menu? We have Jeff Filleul, I think is how he pronounces it, Polaris TX collection. Now, this was from the Crane Snowmobile Show in 2017. I managed to catch him. He was loading his sleds into the trailer, and before he closed up the trailer, I caught him for an interview to show his sleds. So let's take a look at these sleds.
My name is Jeff Filleul from Ware, New Hampshire. These are 3 of my sleds. I actually collect vintage TX. All I do is TX. I can't save them all. I've got every year from 69, other than 69 and 80, I've got every year, and some of them are multiples. It's a 76 340 that I bought years ago. It's original. Runs and drives great. 76 340. Another one is the next one's a 78. That's a 78 340 liquid that I actually restored as a rider.
I'm going to try to get in front of it. Now, is it the first year with the liquid?
Nope, 77 is the first year with the liquid. There was one of those here today. This
Really?
is 78.
Wow.
Yeah, that one runs the drives. So I use that one on my trail rides, parades, and that kind of stuff. That one runs good. This one's a 73 440 triple Starfire that I restored. This sled was actually raced in the USSA division, Eastern Division, and actually raced at this track in 73 and 74 as Pref Racing. I bought it from Prefontaine, was the guy's name.
Wow, so there's some history to this sled.
What's that?
There's some history to this sled.
This one has some history. This one, and I believe it actually won a couple of features here. I'm trying to get the actual proof. That one right here ran in Bedford. He campaigned that all over in the Eastern Division. It's actually very well. That hood is untouched. The hood is unrestored. I restored the snowmobile, brought that back. When he finished racing it, he pickled it and put it on a shelf, and I bought it off the shelf. Went through what I had to, freshen up the motor, and I left the hood alone. That's exactly the way he raced it. Decals, even the decal that's only on halfway, that's exactly the way I bought it, untouched.
Nice. So would you say...
These two are restored, and that one's original.
Now, would you say this would be the prize of your collection? Is this
This
a...
is the prize of my collection, yeah.
Nice. No
This is a
doubt.
non-consumer sled. You couldn't buy this. This was not sold to the general public. You had to be a dealer or a race team to buy this sled. You couldn't buy one.
Wow, so no ordinary joking.
Andre Prefontaine was actually the Polaris dealer at the time, so he bought it as a dealer
Sweet.
and raced it. But you couldn't buy it over the counter.
That's a 440 too. I bet that's fast.
That is a 440 triple, yeah.
Sweet. Well, very nice meeting you. I appreciate your time. Okay, yeah, that was locking up there for a second. But yeah, those are some nice Polarises right there. And it was great fun meeting him. Now, the next video I'm going to show you is from the same show, the Crane Snowmobile Show, Crane Vintage Snowmobile Show in Lancaster, New Hampshire. This is back in 2017. Now, this was as the show was winding down. Quite a few of the sleds had left. And this is just me walking around with the camera getting some random shots. But this is one of the great shows of the East. And as I mentioned, this is a show that has been canceled for this year, which is a real bummer, but we understand, with COVID and everything. But do keep this show in mind for next year. It's usually the first weekend in February, first Saturday in February. And if you're planning to come from any distance for this show, the place to stay, just a short walk down the road, is the Lancaster Motel. And if you're planning to do that, you want to book early because this event books that hotel as well. So without further ado, let's do a little walk around tour of Crane's Vintage Snowmobile Show in Lancaster, New Hampshire back in 2017. Let's take a look. How's it going? Thank you. Excuse me. Thanks.
So what I did was like, I was on.
Yes, that was from the 2017 Crane Vintage Snowmobile Show in Lancaster, New Hampshire. That is a great show. And as I said, everyone there was kind of getting ready to go. They were loading up their sleds, packing up their sleds. And so that wasn't even half of the sleds that were there. And that's just a great, great show. I hope you'll consider joining us at that show next year. Hear their details about it. Of course, this year has been canceled, sadly, because of COVID, but it's scheduled for the first Saturday in February every year. So I hope you'll consider joining us next year for it. That's one of the great shows of the East. And if you're planning to go, you want to stay at the Lancaster Motel. It's just a walking distance away. And that event books that hotel solid every year for that event. So you want to book early. Also, I was in touch with the Lancaster Motel, and they've gotten some fresh snow over there. The trails are open, and they've just gotten some new snow on top of the existing trails. So snowmobiling is at its finest right now in Lancaster. So if you're thinking about, if you're maybe downcountry or something, thinking about coming up to central New Hampshire for some snowmobile trail riding, now is the perfect time to do it. Maybe come up this weekend or next. Give them a call. Their number's on the screen there to book a room. They're right on the trail, and you just can't find a better place for some central New Hampshire trail riding. And they're walking distance from Crane Snowmobile Museum. How many other snowmobile destinations can make that claim? All right, so we are winding down the program tonight. I appreciate your joining us. Please join us, same bat time, same bat channel, 9 p.m. every Thursday night. We do a live show like this for you, and I appreciate everyone that joins us, both the first-time viewers and the regular viewers. Really means a lot. And if you like this, I really would appreciate if you could share this either on your profile or on a friend's profile if you think they would enjoy it, or you can share it as a private message. But anything you can do to help get the word out about this podcast would really mean a lot. It's a great way to keep this moving. We're getting some good momentum with this. It gets a little bigger every time, and it's all because of you. I really appreciate that, and anything you can do to help that along, it would really mean a lot. So thank you for watching, guys. We'll catch you on the other side. Here's a quick video about the Mad Ramps product.
It's the ultimate combination of simplicity and ingenuity. The newest way to load, unload, and transport your ATV or UTV. The Mad Ramps Pivoting Ramp System. Made in the USA and engineered for strength and durability. Maneuver through tight places and over rugged terrain with plenty of ground clearance. No licensing, no ongoing maintenance costs, and no storage hassles like trailers. Won't slip or move like conventional ramps. Free up more cargo space in the bed of your truck. Securely connects to your truck's receiver hitch. Easily extends for safe loading and unloading. Seamlessly retracts for highway and off-road travel. DOT approved in all 50 states and Canada. Quickly disconnects in under a minute. A unique space-saving storage system. The Mad Ramps Pivoting Ramp System. Go farther. Go faster. Go safer.
When you order using the link in the description, I'll send you 3 free Vintage Snowmobile DVDs. When you order using the link in the description, I'll send you 3 free Vintage Snowmobile DVDs.